Good to have you with us on a Friday morning. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We begin this morning with the latest developments in the Trump transition.
President-elect Trump was forced to announce a new pick to lead the Justice Department. He's now putting forward former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi. This comes after Matt Gaetz withdrew from consideration last night. His nomination unraveled just 8 days after it was first announced. Gaetz explained why he's walking away, writing on X, quote, "While the momentum was strong, it is clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction." The former congressman bowed out after a source familiar with the matter tells NBC News the House Ethics Committee learned about new allegations of a second sexual encounter with a 17-year-old girl. The committee had been investigating Gaetz over allegations of sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, all things that he denies. Here's what lawmakers on both sides of the aisle had to say about Gaetz dropping out.
I mean, there's a sense of relief about it, of course. I think he did a pretty noble thing, frankly, honorable thing by getting out himself.
There's going to be some picks that are unacceptable, but I also want to remind you that they have the majority in the Senate, and they are going to have the ability to pick whoever they want.
The focus now shifts to Mr. Trump's troubled Pentagon pick, Pete Hegseth. His nomination has been mired in allegations of a sexual assault, allegations he also denies. For more, let's bring in NBC News correspondent Vaughn Hilliard. So, Vaughn, talk to us about just the final straw that led to Gaetz withdrawing his name from consideration. And also, we know lawmakers in the House Ethics Committee, they were deadlocked over whether to release the details of their investigation into Gaetz. Is that report ever going to see the light of day?
Hey, good morning, guys. Right. Whether the report is going to see the light of day is the great question. It depends on whether he actually were to return to Congress, because he technically was elected in November to another term, though he has suggested he would resign and doesn't want to take the oath of office. So that's outstanding, whether he actually tries to change his mind and come back. But this is the end of at least his attorney general potential run. For Matt Gaetz, he ran into a brick wall, which was a reckoning that there were too many Republican senators up on Capitol Hill who were reticent to confirming him. We're 2 months away from that confirmation process actually beginning. But these images that you're looking at was Matt Gaetz earlier this week up on Capitol Hill meeting with Republican senators, because he could only afford, under the circumstance that every Democrat voted against him, he could only afford to lose 3 Republican senators. But there's people like Mitch McConnell, who is retiring, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, some of these forces up on the Senate that sent a clear indication to Matt Gaetz, but even more so the Trump transition, that just because they put somebody up for a nomination doesn't mean that the Senate necessarily is going to go along with it and vote to confirm.
Vaughn, let's talk about the new AG pick here. So Pam Bondi, some people might remember her from President-elect Trump's first impeachment trial, but for those who don't, remind people who she is. And do you think she has an easier path to lead the Department of Justice? What's been the reaction so far?
Let's be clear, a much easier path than Matt Gaetz. Pam Bondi, does not have allegations of having sex with a minor under her belt. So for Pam Bondi, there is no nefarious or sexual misconduct allegations that she's going to have to apparently try to convince Republican lawmakers to get over. Instead, she's somebody who served credibly as the Attorney General of Florida for 8 years. From 2011 to 2019, she was an endorsee of Donald Trump in his 2016 campaign. She helped defend him as a legal advisor in 2019 during his first impeachment proceeding. She was out there on the campaign trail with him in 2020 and 2024. And so this is somebody who Donald Trump clearly trusts and has faith in, somebody who said back in 2020 that the Pennsylvania election was stolen from Donald Trump. Somebody who has really been a vocal person on Fox and other right-wing outlets in defending Donald Trump. So in Pam Bondi, if she were to be confirmed, you have somebody who is maybe not quite as bombastic as Matt Gaetz, but somebody who Donald Trump clearly believes would go and utilize the DOJ in the same way.
So, Vaughn, I mean, the Trump team put a considerable amount of effort into trying to support Gaetz's nomination. Mr. Trump was personally making calls to senators. We saw VP-elect J.D. Vance out lobbying on Capitol Hill. Just How big of a hiccup is this for the incoming administration coming, pardon the pun, right out of the gates? I mean, it's a big distraction, right?
Right. It absolutely is, because Donald Trump was making selections that were head-turning, not necessarily people that were going to appease some of the moderate Republicans, but instead those who were promising, like Matt Gaetz, to effectively blow up the Department of Justice and root out the deep state, as he said, and fire the career prosecutors inside of the DOJ. And that's where Pete Hegseth, right? He also has an allegation of a sexual assault that he was never criminally charged for, and he has denied. But he has that looming over him, and he was up on Capitol Hill as well. And these are individuals that are going to face really tough scrutiny up on Capitol Hill. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Linda McMahon. These are individuals that have some clouds over them, and they are going to go and have to convince Republican senators that just because Donald Trump said that he wants them, there is that advice and consent that constitutionally the Senate has the privilege of being able to vote up or down for these folks. And so they're going to go and have to make the case on their own benefit. And people like Pete Hegseth, who has never led one of the branches of the military and has never held the leadership role in the DOD, they're going to have to make compelling cases to some of these reticent Republican senators.
Yeah, and Tulsi Gabbard, another pick that a lot of Republicans have some questions about. All right, Vaughn, thank you so much.
Thanks, Vaughn. Well, meanwhile, President-elect Trump's pick for Defense Secretary, as mentioned, Pete Hegseth, is facing new scrutiny after the release of a police report detailing sexual assault allegations against him. This comes as he made the rounds with Vice President-elect Vance to see Republican senators on the Hill. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles has more.
Pete Hegseth had a busy day on Capitol Hill, forced to answer questions about new revelations about a sexual assault claim from 2017. President-elect Trump's pick for Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, defending himself after a potential new hurdle in his confirmation fight. NBC News obtaining a police report detailing a woman's allegation he sexually assaulted her.
Did you sexually assault a woman in Monterey, California?
I'll keep it very simple. The matter was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared, and that's where I'm going to leave it.
According to the police report, the woman says she met Hegseth at a hotel where he was speaking in 2017, saying at one point she blacked out, alleging he took her phone and blocked her attempt to leave the room, and said that she remembered saying no a lot. Police investigated and did not file any charges against Hegseth. He said the encounter was consensual. His attorney said Hegseth later paid her to keep her from going public, so his career would not be hurt, and saying Mr. Hegseth is innocent. It was fully investigated by police, and video surveillance as well as multiple eyewitness statements show that she was the aggressor. On Capitol Hill with Vice President-elect Vance, meeting with Republican senators who will decide if he gets the job.
Senator, did you talk to him about the sexual assault allegations?
It's a disgrace that those allegations are nothing but what you said, allegations that are he said, she said. This is a case that has been dismissed.
So are you concerned at all that he did pay her to keep her story quiet?
I don't know the circumstances behind it. I think all those will come out, but I believe his story.
Hegseth is a former Fox News host and decorated combat veteran, but his lack of government experience raising questions among some GOP senators over his qualifications to run the largest federal government agency.
There needs to be legitimate vetting. When I say legitimate, I mean just thorough vetting that the committees do. This is our job.
Two other Trump picks facing new backlash. Tulsi Gabbard, the former Democratic congresswoman and military veteran, picked as the director of national intelligence, slammed by Nikki Haley.
This is not a place for a Russian, Iranian, Syrian, Chinese sympathizer.
A Trump transition spokesperson responding that Tulsi Gabbard is a combat veteran who saw devastation caused by wars championed by people like Nikki Haley. There's newly revealed audio of Health and Human Services pick Robert F. Kennedy Jr. criticizing Trump supporters 8 years ago.
The way that you build a truly vicious nationalist movement is to wed a relatively small core of belligerent idiots.
RFK Jr. saying, I no longer hold this belief, and I now regret having made those statements.
That was Ryan Nobles reporting. Well, the Republican senators who met with Pete Hegseth yesterday on Capitol Hill say they believe he has a path for confirmation. Well, this morning, several states are under winter weather advisories from the Midwest to New England. It's part of a weather 1-2 punch hitting much of the U.S. The bomb cyclone, as it's called on the West Coast, has dumped more than a foot of rain on parts of Northern California, while more than 150,000 people still don't have power in Washington.
Back east, officials are prepping salt trucks after the first significant snowfall of the year in places like Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. We're going to get to Michelle Grossman in just a moment. But first, NBC News correspondent Sam Brock is live in Moosic, Pennsylvania, which is near Scranton.
Wow.
Sam, good to have you with us.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
a change of scenery. Tell us what you're seeing there and what you're expecting here today.
I don't know what I look like right now, but just based on Savannah's reaction, I have a feeling I'm definitely fitting into the portrait of winter. So, guys, we were driving out to northeast Pennsylvania last night. It was like someone flipped a switch at about 6 or 7 o'clock at night. Suddenly, all this snow starts to come down, and it basically hasn't stopped since. In the valleys where we are outside of Scranton right now, you're looking at 3 or 4 inches of snow. I'll give you an example of that, and it's nice and compact, too. This is perfect snowball conditions. And then Mount Pocono was 7 inches nearby as of 4 o'clock this morning. We're hearing reports of 11 or 12 inches at some of the elevations as we get deeper into the morning. So that's all the reality on the ground. As I got out of the hotel this morning to just sort of scope out the area, we saw snow plows going in every which direction. It's a very welcomed and sort of an unusual sight for folks here. They were kind of wondering, when is this going to happen? Because it's been in the 50s and the 60s. We've seen sort of a Jekyll and Hyde scenario with the weather. And now here comes all this snow. Dozens of school delays and closures here. And no doubt that's true not just in Pennsylvania, but other states throughout the region. There are already, Joe and Savannah, tens of thousands of power outages, about 60,000 in Pennsylvania, 45,000 in New York, and you can understand why. But many folks definitely in the holiday spirit, seeing all this around them.
Okay, Sam, you are hardcore. No gloves, right, for the snow. You look like Miami man, covered snowstorm, no gloves, and the short jacket, and no scarf. You're cracking me up. We need to get you more winter clothes now that you live here. Sam, I know this is pretty late in the season for this to be happening, for this first major snowfall. What are you hearing from people there?
First of all, let me defend myself because, no, I'm not from here. I was living in Miami for 5 years, as you observed, Savannah. So the gloves, it's on the to-do list. As far as how people are reacting around here, they say, look, it was, as you're laughing, it was early October when they saw their first snowfall last year. So mid to late November was a bit of a surprise. Here's some of the exchanges I had with folks on the ground as they were taking all this in.
Well, I'm very relieved because this is late for the first snowfall. So with global warming, I feel like this is a big deal that we're finally getting snow. I think it's very important that the weather stabilize a little bit so that we can get longer durations of precipitation versus stronger intensity but less frequency.
So, Joe, Savannah, the expectation for the rest of the day is that there's going to continue to be precipitation, but as the temperatures warm up a little bit, it might not be continued snow accumulation. You're going to get some sleet and perhaps some rain later in the day. But the reality is right now, winter weather advisories in Pennsylvania, in New York, West Virginia, Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, all of these states right now finally seeing for the first time this year significant snowfall, and the residents are bracing and perhaps enjoying what's going on around them. And I'm sure they're properly attired as well, as I will be soon.
I don't even want to know about your footwear.
Sam, the proper answer is you're just tough. You grew up in this area.
Yeah, man.
Sam, show us your footwear. What are you wearing?
My footwear. No, I do have good footwear.
Okay.
He has good
Does this work?
That's the most important thing, honestly. You can always put your hands in your pockets. You
Yes.
can't put your feet anywhere
Running
else.
shoes on.
Sam, real quick, I think you touched on this, but it's not just where you are. I mean, there's winter weather alerts all over the place today, right?
Yes, there are. It really stretches from the Midwest. I mean, you saw the Cleveland Browns Steelers game last night, right?
Yeah.
In Cleveland. Feet of snow coming down all the way out to the Northeast. New York is going to be getting it, too. So you're really looking at about a wide swath of the Midwest and the Northeast that's getting this kind of weather, Joe.
All right, Sam, thank you so much.
Winter wonderland.
All
Stay
right.
warm, Sam. Get inside somewhere, Sam.
The latest on this, let's get a closer look at your morning News Now forecast.
We have Michelle Grossman tracking it all for us. Hi, Michelle. Good morning.
Hi there, guys. And by the way, Sam's wife is a meteorologist, so I'm sure he's texting her. She's texting him right now, like, what the heck? You left the house with nothing.
He was warm. He knew what was coming.
Exactly. All right, let's talk about what's happening because, you know, it's a lot like yesterday. Really unsettled. unsettled in the west, unsettled in the east where Sam is. Well, we're going to start in the west because we're looking at life-threatening flooding once again today. Mountain snow up to 3-5 feet in some spots. The middle of the country, though, we haven't really talked about the middle of the country in a while because we're nice and quiet. Mild highs throughout portions of the central plains, the southern plains, really nice with temperatures in the 70s, lots of sunshine. The southeast, it's cool there, temperatures in the 60s. And the East Coast storm, we'll talk more about that because it's not just in Scranton. We're talking about places in New York, northern New Jersey, seeing a good amount of snow, and it's heavy and it's wet. So starting in the west here, we're looking at some heavy rain falling still. It's really falling in the same spots, right? So it's that plume of moisture coming into the same areas where you're seeing the reds, the oranges, the yellows. That's where we're seeing the heaviest rain falling from northern California up through Oregon into Washington. This is going to push down a little bit down to the south into central California. So then bringing that heavier rain into central California. Elevated flood risk once again. We saw the flooding yesterday. We're going to see landslides, mudslides, more power outages, and also elevated flood risk in the Sierra foothills. So that is tomorrow, today. Then tomorrow, we're going to be more unsettled. We're going to be unsettled as we go throughout Sunday as well. So the whole weekend will be a washout there once again. Really tricky travel. Flooding threat is lower on Sunday, but still could be dicey to kind of drive around. In terms of rainfall, we're talking about a lot, nearly a foot of rain in some spots, 5 to 10, where you see those darker colors once again, and then feet of snow. This is welcome news for all those ski resorts, the snow lovers there, getting that snowpack in place. We're looking at 3 feet, even 4 feet in some spots. So that is a good story as we head throughout the weekend. Another good story for the Poconos, the Catskills, the Appalachians. We're looking at heavy, heavy snow here too. This is what it looks like on radar right now. We're looking at that green. That is the light rain falling. The darker colors are the heavier rain. And we're looking at really heavy snow falling in some spots. Again, it's wet, it's heavy, it's sticking to the roadway. So really tough travel this morning in northern New Jersey into the interior parts of the Northeast, also parts of New York. So the Catskills, Poconos into the Appalachians. 10 million under winter alerts on this at this hour. Winter weather advisories, that's in white. Winter storm warnings, that's in the pinker color. Scranton down to Johnstown, Elkins. So kind of a really nice day if you like the snow. It's really pretty as it's falling. And we're going to see this kind of meander in place. So we're going to be unsettled all day long with those rain showers in place, the snow showers in place. So plan accordingly for your evening commute as well. Again, 10 million people at risk for some winter weather. Reduced visibility, guys, down to quarter of a mile, and we could see some power outages as well. Keep in mind, it's going to be breezy tomorrow. It's going to be chilly, so that's going to be a concern as well. Back to you.
We're going to get snow here soon?
Oh, in New York City? Sorry. I thought we were done.
Rain.
Just rain.
Just rain.
I was already at the door. I was like, we could see a few snowflakes. That's about it.
Michelle, that's where you just say, stay tuned till next hour and walk away.
Thanks, Michelle. Sure. See you in a little bit. Well, the Thanksgiving holiday travel rush is just starting to kick into high gear, and while millions of Americans will fly this holiday, not everyone will arrive with their luggage.
Consumer investigative reporter Chris Camurro from our NBC affiliate in the Bay Area has one frustrated flyer's story in how a new partnership with Apple could soon help others find that missing bag.
For Dan Adams, it was supposed to be
the vacation of a lifetime.
But his first stop in Barcelona was unplanned. The United Airlines baggage office.
One bag came out, second bag came out, third bag came out, and the fourth one didn't.
Locating that fourth bag was supposed to be easy. Dan had dropped an Apple AirTag in it, a $20 to $30 battery-powered Wi-Fi tracker that constantly transmits its location to your smartphone. Dan's AirTag showed the missing bag was nearby, so he told a United agent who went looking.
She came back and said, no, there's no sign of your bag. Probably somebody took it. I said, nobody took it. The AirTag shows that it's right there.
Later, Dan says his AirTag showed his luggage was moving
farther and farther and farther away from Barcelona.
It stopped at an apartment 30 miles outside Barcelona. United didn't dispute Dan's story. It declined to discuss specifics, but told us it's investigating and working with local law enforcement.
Next year, United and 14 other carriers are actually going to begin integrating AirTag data into their baggage tracking systems under a newly announced deal with Apple.
We're seeing less bags mishandled than in previous years.
The federal government's latest airline report card from August shows U.S. airlines collectively transported almost 41 million bags and successfully delivered more than 99% of them on time. Still, Going.com's Katie Nastro recommends snapping photos of your bag anytime you check it.
If you have pictures to sort of go back to, it can be a lot easier to making sure that you're getting the value of your contents back.
As for Dan, United declared his bag missing for good and paid him for his loss.
I just want people to know what happened to me so it doesn't happen to them.
Chris Kimura, NBC News, San Jose, California.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.